At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Welcome in to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. It has been a murky, cloudy, kind of grody sort of couple of days. We're hoping for a little more sunshine on your Thursday, but I'll be honest, a lot of us stay locked in the cloud cover, and that could remain just a little bit elusive. The temperatures, though, there's no question about this. As far as low temperatures go and high temperatures, we reach our peak on Thursday. I mean, come on, look at this. A low temperature at 60 degrees. That's a starting temperature Thursday at 60 degrees. It's incredible to think about there, considering our normal is about 38. But you could see how things plummet dramatically by the first part of next week. Lows going to be back into the 20s, maybe even some mid-20s there. So a big drop is ahead as we go back into winter, because it is still February after all. We're going to be warmer, though, to end of the week. As we touched on, tomorrow is kind of the pinnacle of that warmth. And I think at the transition point, the inflection point between those two, we will have some rain and maybe some storms possible. I'll say this, any severe weather primarily looks like up to the north of us, largely for us, or out east. But I think for us in Mississippi, it's a non-factor to a large extent. As you can see here, over the first 12, we're 64 at 11 p.m., 62 by 2 a.m. You'll notice how we have those slight chances for a little bit of drizzle, maybe light showers in overnight. So temperatures don't really drop a lot from where they're at right now, with us kind of bottoming out close to around the 60-degree point. By 8 a.m., we're at 63, 71 by 11, so temperatures start spiking up in a relative hurry. The latest on our camera network in West Point shows again kind of that reflection of some of the lower level clouds that we have out there. 65 degrees current temperature. I do appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for pairing up with us on our camera network here across the northern part of the state of Mississippi. We are looking at 68 right now in Rolling Fork, and again a bit of cloud cover, but one of the spots a little clearer. Notice a little bit of jostling back and forth at that site. Wind gusts in the most recent update at 6 miles per hour, but we have had some gusts 10 to 15 out there. So a little bit breezy, especially out in the Delta this evening. And coming in Oxford at 63 degrees, feels like 63, because again, while we have a wind, not much of a chill to that, as we're fairly humid. And again, appreciate Phoenix Building Solutions for sponsoring our Oxford camera, one of many camera sites available for sponsorship here across North Mississippi. But again, a cloudy view out there as of the 10 o'clock hour. Mama Justice Doppler radar, we have had some showers depicted on there from time to time today. Kind of look at the latest scans here, still showing up with some of those. I'll see if this will let me kick this over into precipitation mode, just kind of looking for some of those lighter returns. As you can see there, we've had a few from time to time, like what we depict out there closer to, Bruce and Tupelo, but amounts of precipitation have been pretty underwhelming, and that's not really a shock there. 6-hour rainfall amounts, we show kind of the loop on that. I mean, negligible, next to nothing. There's not really much there to contend with. As we kick back to kind of the regular version of Mama Justice Doppler radar, a couple of different fronts we're watching. The first of those, which will bring us some maybe slightly more organized showers late tomorrow, going to be back out here toward the plains. And the one after that is the one that'll eventually tap into some cold air. A lot of cold air up here in Canada that this is going to really start to get pulling down. Case in point, I want you to kind of show this here. You see where we have the snowfall back out there toward Billings, Montana. If I kick this over into our temperature map, you'll notice how there's this reserve of really, really chilly air up here toward Edmonton and Calgary. That's where actual temperatures, not wind chill temperatures, but actual temperatures, we see some of the purples there back below zero. So that coldest air just kind of sitting there. It will spill southward. It's just going to take a few more days before that happens, and probably that second storm system farther back to the west before that ends up being the case. So as we bring it back in here, yellow indicates warm, and we remain fairly warm into this evening and tonight. A few isolated showers remain possible over the course of the next couple of hours. But again, more mist than hit. but we'll have a few kind of developing. You see how they get a little heavier up to the north of us, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, up there toward the Tennessee Valley, more likely to have some, but we'll have at least enough rainfall around that our meteorologist Maggie McCauley likely tracking again some showers for early tomorrow morning. Things setting up for this to be a severe weather chance up here toward Illinois and Indiana. I think we're far enough removed from that thankful that it's a non-issue for us. But as you can see, even in the morning, some isolated storms are already going up that direction. For us, it's just lighter variety showers. That's the main story on your Thursday. Yeah, look at that. There's some of those stronger thunderstorms. We'll look at that risk area here in a couple of moments. Severe weather chances up that way. For us, I think our shower chances increase. And while we show some rumbles as a possibility, most of these are just going to be rain showers, and I think it'll be late tomorrow evening and tomorrow night before we have slightly better chances. We're assuming we see some sunshine there, 74 there at noon and 77 at 3 p.m. Hopefully that's the case to warm us up that little bit more, but I expect that for many of us still probably limited to the low 70s for highs. So again, coming up here in 60 seconds, we will look at some of the rainfall potential right after this on how much we could end up seeing over the next couple days, some updated model projections there. We'll also look ahead at the timing of some of those storm chances for late tomorrow night. And again, want to emphasize peak threat is going to be for locations up to the north of us, up into the Tennessee Valley, really north of the Tennessee Valley, more the Ohio Valley. More on that as Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center. Appreciate everyone for watching us on Facebook, on all the YouTubes and such. We'll be right back after this.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovhawn.
You're watching Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lovhawn. Mama Justice Doppler radar depicting a few light showers out there. As we talked about off the top of the broadcast, is not really adding up to much. Let's check a couple of cameras here, one of which is going to be our camera on the south side of Tupelo. Just kind of get a sense there of how much of that rain actually hit in the camera lens in the last little bit. You can see a little glossiness there at this time. So coming in, though, with pretty good visibility. Again, appreciate Mitchell Cunningham Bowling for sponsoring our Tupelo Tower Cam there. Perhaps we can catch a little bit more of that if we head out towards Sherman on the latest look there on our Mississippi Department of Transportation cameras. Doesn't look like we have any of the rain getting on the lens there at this point and time. So a good sign that, again, travel remains pretty nice at this instant. I'm going to kick this over to our severe risk areas. Again, no severe risk area for today out there. We do have one for tomorrow up to the north, up toward the Ohio Valley, Evansville, Indiana there, Bowling Green, Kentucky, all north. For whatever reason, travel takes you that way. There is a tornado risk. There's a wind risk. And as far as a hail risk, one of those as well. Again, appreciate True Shield Roofing for sponsoring our hail risk there. But the peak threat for all those things are all to the north of us. Has been fairly windy from time to time today, but as you can see, the wind speeds, just looking at kind of bulk wind speeds as opposed to wind gusts, not too terribly bad. Wind gusts show up a little bit higher, kind of for the peaks there, but certainly up closer to the Midwest and northern plains. That's where those are the most significant as well. So for us, rainfall remains one of the questions. We're looking at a couple different projections here, our Barron or our Strike model. And this is not impressed with our rain chances. They get a little better, as you can see, by late Friday night and into Saturday. And while this goes all the way to Sunday, as you can see, it's all out of here by then. A couple tenths of an inch of rainfall, kind of on the high end there. I want to compare that with our HRRR model, which does have a few more thunderstorms trying to get going late Thursday in a few spots, but even then it does not have a whole lot of meaningful rainfall out of that. and then it has some of those chances a little bit better out toward the south and east, but again, those are not over the top. So kind of the way in which we merge the thought process on those two there, going through your Thursday and into your Friday, and beyond that into Saturday, as you can see, the rainfall chances there remain fairly spotty through that time period there as that kind of clicks over to some different time periods. So the takeaway being, we're not expecting this to be heavy rainfall. We need some more meaningful rainfall. I just don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case. Of course, if you have opinions on the rainfall, drop those in the comments next to me, and appreciate everyone for tuning in this evening. Hello, all our weather watchers out there. Appreciate y'all joining us in the morning and the evening. And again, having you all talk with us. If you have questions, put those in the chat next to us, and we'll talk about those toward the end of our broadcast. So let's kind of walk ahead here through the next couple of days. And again, the headline, I think, is that we have some rain chances, but they aren't excessively high. 20 to 30% again on your Thursday and Friday and Saturday before things dry out as we head into next week. You can make some arguments for rainfall into the latter part of next week, especially really late next week. That's when we could be talking about maybe some stronger thunderstorms, a possibility going toward the weekend there. Still more than, 10 days out? So things will change on that going forward. So drizzle, some light showers possible overnight and the early tomorrow. Most of us relatively dry, but as you can see, at least limited rain chances there. Starting to pick up perhaps a little bit more by late in the evening. We'll look at that latest version of Futurecast here in a minute. It will be a little bit breezy. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And hopefully we're not lying too much on those sunshines showing up on that icon there. So this evening and overnight, some light showers again. New Albany, Holly Springs, back toward locations up around Florence, Alabama. Show some of those 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Again, pretty spotty in nature, not adding up to much more than a couple hundredths of an inch of rainfall, enough to maybe dampen the ground. And again, so there'll be some drizzle that mixes in with that as well. So low temperatures, 59 in Corinth and Boonville, about 59 degrees in Oxford, Water Valley, and Bruce for early Thursday morning. We should be 38, and as we talked about right at the top of this broadcast, that is obviously way above what we'd expect for our normal for this time of the year, setting us off to kind of be a warm day, even if these clouds and drizzle chances kind of continue into it. And so because we'll still have some of those around through the day, I think that limits temperatures. We're hopeful to get maybe a little more sunshine, but I'm just not particularly impressed on what we're looking at here on Futurecast. Again, we have those southwest winds, we have that front approaching, but in general, everything kind of lining up to still stay stuck in the cloud cover until perhaps very, very late in the afternoon. I think this is probably too late to have a huge, meaningful impact on temperatures, but let's sell optimism here. We'll go 77 Tupelo, 79 Amory, Columbus, and Starkville, but that is highly optimistic. Kindest way I can say it. We're probably not getting this warm. But if we see some sunshine, this is what we're looking at. We're hoping that's the case. I've undercut projections by a few degrees here, but it's our warmest day of the week. But I think that cloud cover keeps us locked away from some of the warmest temperatures in some spots. And so as we go into your Thursday evening, that front approaching us, some isolated showers and maybe a rumble possible here. Our Futurecast, in particular this HRRR model, had a line of some kind of quasi thunderstorms on there at 5 and 6 o'clock. You're looking at the newest data here, and what does it not have? Doesn't have much. It has a couple isolated showers developing along and just a little ahead of that line, but these are only really kind of peeking out there at the yellows, and on our scale, that's not particularly high. One of the signs that they should be relatively weak as they kind of move eastward through the area. Behind this, a little bit drier, and we're hoping that mixes things out and helps the temperature to, not necessarily the temperature to increase, but helps the sun to come out. Because whether the temperature goes up or down, I know a lot of folks don't want to go way down, but I need some sunshine. I don't know about you. I start going a little stir crazy when we go a couple days without sunshine like this. There was one time when I was in college, we went somewhere around 18 to 20 days without sunshine in Kansas, and I said no more. There's a reason I moved south. So 48 Tunica, 49 South Haven and Senatobia for those low temperatures early Friday morning. That's an effect of that cooler air moving in from the north and west and really kind of spreading through the area. That's why we're still close to the 60-degree point there in Macon, Columbus, and Aliceville, because that coolest air has yet to reach your locations by the early hours there on Friday. As we go into Friday, again, most of the showers south of this frontal boundary, largely stalled out just to the south of us. You can actually see where it alternates the red, blue like that, indicating a stationary front trying to lift some of that moisture back in. And if you look closely there, for a brief moment, Friday afternoon, we did have a couple little thunderstorms depicted there on the latest version of Futurecast. This is our HRRR, and it does have at least a couple of rumbles with that, but most of that activity to the east, and all of it looked to be below severe limits. But again, enough rainfall to possibly cause a few issues for maybe your outdoor plans Friday afternoon. That could mean, again, some issues for the Ole Miss and Mississippi State baseball games going on there. Of course, we had the home opener last weekend. We'll have that forecast for those series here in a couple of moments. But a 67 Tunica the high on Friday, as well as South Haven and Senatobia. 71 degrees in Oxford. We're looking at about 74 in Houston. Should typically be 59, so even when we're a little cooler, we're still way above normal. As you can see, record on the books is 78. I don't think we're quite warm enough for that. Most locations at least a couple degrees cooler than that. And so our high school basketball game of the week presented by Casey Lott. Here's where those rain chances come in. Again, we have some of those showers out there, maybe indicating the Thunder is kind of overdoing it just a little bit. But we are going to have, I think, a pretty good chance to have some showers out and about around the region for Friday in the evening. Maybe a rumble, but I think most cases probably not. So Okolona and Wheeler, excited to head up there to Wheeler for that game. As can girls taking on one another there in our Mississippi Live Game of the Week, and really excited to have that one in store for you. And all the highlights are Ethan Foster, and I think I probably will end up being up there again on Friday night for that game. So some showers again possible. I've pulled off of that front. You can see some of those do continue into the late Friday evening, maybe a rumble, but I mean, even if you go region wide, do you see any reds showing up on any of these? I don't. A sign that these remain relatively weak and still fairly spotty. So luckily, in contrast to last weekend where we had severe weather with, again, those 10 tornado touchdowns down in South Mississippi, that's not a repeat performance of this on your Saturday for us as those showers heading eastward. A couple of rumbles close to Philadelphia and down toward Utah. You can see how those storms get a little stronger as they head out into Alabama. One of the signs that things are a little bit out of place for that for us. So Futurecast here shows that part of the storm system sliding away. In its wake, it doesn't really show up on here, but if you look at the wind directions back to the west, you can kind of see here, I'll use yellow to kind of indicate it, how you generally have the winds kind of out of a northerly sort of direction like this. And ahead of that, there's still some spots where they're kind of like this, right? At least in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So right between those two is where we have kind of an upper-level low-pressure center. And where that is there, that'll be our focal point for, again, some additional showers and thunderstorms to possibly try to move in your afternoon, maybe evening time period on Saturday. You still see some cloud cover lingering related to that. And this latest version of Futurecast here doesn't depict a whole lot, but not impossible to get a couple sprinkles starting to develop here late Saturday evening. It will be a lot cooler by then. That's one of the big headlines looking at this 7-day forecast. As you'll note, Saturday's temperature, we're going 67 for the peak temperature, but again, we'll probably drop a little bit as we progress into the evening. So expecting those temperatures to head down into the mid-30s by early Sunday morning. So that's a pretty substantial drop there by early Sunday. We're 53 Sunday afternoon. That's all we can manage, again, back below normal for this time of year. And then we're 27 for Monday, 24 for Tuesday, so much, much cooler temperatures the first part of next week. I mean, it's been a while since we've only been 40s for highs. And that's where we're going to find ourselves at the beginning of next week. It'll take a little while to get somewhat milder. While we have another front coming in midweek, not at this point here impressed by the chances for storms. I think those get a little bit better in the wake of that event. Let's talk SEC baseball forecast presented by Carl Hogan Toyota. 71 degrees, that first pitch temperature there on Friday, where we are going to have some scattered showers possible into the afternoon. Fingers crossed that's not an issue. Saturday looking at 65 with, again, the potential for showers, but I think most of those south of us, and then dropping temperatures. By Sunday, we're only 51 degrees for that first pitch temperature, kind of best case scenario there. And for Mississippi State taking on Delaware, 75 that Friday temperature. A few isolated showers early in the day. I think most of those are out of here by game time down in Starkville. Hopefully that's the case. And then Sunday, mid-50s out there for that forecast. So everything kind of transitioning toward what should be a much cooler forecast beyond that, looking into next week. I appreciate everybody for joining us here in our chat. Music to the ears, highs in the low 70s. I'm right there with you, Pitter Pat. That's what we're going to have, but it's not necessarily something that's going to continue to stick around. Obviously, much cooler temperatures are ahead. Glad to explain that. Wondering about the red-blue banner floating across the map. Well, hopefully that made a little bit of sense as far as that's concerned there. But yeah, those fronts, something that we always kind of look for as kind of the collision point between the different air masses that we're talking about there. You can join the conversation on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as YouTube. I guess it's not Twitter anymore. I guess it's X. One of these days I'll relearn the name of it there. Regardless of what it's named, one of the things we also recommend is that you pick up our Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available for all of those different devices, iOS as well as Android. Kind of bring it back in here to our normal shot for a moment so you can see that there. But again, pick up the app. It is free and hopefully something you find useful. Gives you alerts if things change, and know that's something that happens from time to time there. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be on with our next live broadcast tomorrow morning. That's coming up at 6:30 a.m. Any issues with drizzle or showers or travel issues, she'll have updates on that in the morning, 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. It's 3 different live shows, hopefully convenient for you there, with updates here from the Room to Room Weather Center. We'll see you tomorrow, and from all of us here at Mississippi Live Weather, have a good night.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.